Well, Michael, my best guess about what we'll talk about tonight is the power of song lyrics based upon our pre-show conversation where we were talking about all of the different lyrics that Judge Middleton could explore. I'm thinking that would be a great topic for us to get into tonight, which means we won't, but that would be my vote. You?
Well, I was thinking about there used to be a code back in the old days, back when I started out as a prosecutor. They used to call this disturbing the peace. Now it's disorderly conduct. We used to call it being an asshole. But they used to write that in the Michigan code, but now they don't. Everybody turned, I guess they turned soft. Flaccid, if you will, is another word for that.
As we thank heavens that we're not yet monetized here, so we don't have to worry about swearing early. He's Mike. I'm Dan. We are very much in the blind. It's In the Blind with Mike and Dan, and yes, we'll get this out of the way real quick. You haven't seen us in a while, but you're missing the whole point. The clue is in the name of the show. It is called In the Blind. You're not supposed to see us.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's a content strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about just doing the show in the dark.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
do that.
Well, we picked up extra subscribers when we weren't actually doing a show, more than when we are actually
just do
filming.
this.
So
I'm in the blind.
More of you sub to us when we're not here, so we might just keep not being here for a while.
I don't know if that says a lot or it says very little about us. I'm not sure what it says.
It's a statement.
it's a clue.
Yes. We'll have to do more analytics on that. Put that into Grok.
That's actually a place where we probably just want to stay in the blind. We don't want to know. All right. So if you are new to the show, this is real simple. Beth, sitting across from me with a devious look in her eyes, will give us two topics tonight. We have no idea what they're going to be, thus the name In the Blind. We'll give them 20 minutes each to debate and discuss. Then after that, the true false round where the show usually goes completely off the rails, and it's a good time. Ready?
I am ready. Are you guys ready? Is the timer ready?
Of
Because
course
last
not.
show the timer didn't work.
Yeah, no. The timer has been fixed.
It won't stop at 12:22 or whatever, or 2:22, whatever it stopped at.
So the timers were sitting on a hard drive that was timing out, and I think it was from a Windows update. So I just moved them onto the solid state drive that never times out. So
Bill Gates strikes again.
Yep, good old Windows. I'd move to Linux if I could, but half my equipment would break.
Yeah.
So, anyways, shall we?
Yeah.
Hit it.
Okay. Over the weekend, America turned 250 years old. Whether you're a history buff, a fireworks fanatic, or just showed up for hot dogs and potato salad, today we're celebrating some surprising stories from American history and a lightning round that's red, white, and weird as the internet could provide.
Oh, we themed today.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
When most people picture the American Revolution, they picture powdered wigs, George Washington crossing the Delaware, the Liberty Bell, the Declaration of Independence, maybe a dramatic painting of soldiers charging across a battlefield while someone waves a flag in slow motion. It's become one of those stories that almost feels inevitable. Of course, America was going to win. Of course, everyone wanted independence. Of course, history was marching toward July 4th, 1776. Except that's not really what happened. The colonies weren't united. Neighbors argued. Families split apart. Some people wanted independence. Others remained loyal to Britain. Many simply wanted to be left alone. Victory was anything but guaranteed. The Continental Army spent years short on food, clothing, ammunition, and even pay. There were moments when the entire revolution came dangerously close to collapsing. And without help from overseas, there's a very real chance history could have turned out very differently. Maybe that's what makes the American Revolution so fascinating 250 years later. Not because it was simple, but because it wasn't. It was messy, uncertain, human. Humans are very messy. So today's question is, has the American Revolution become so simplified over time that we've forgotten just how improbable and complicated it really is? Or really was?
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
My answer is yes. You got anything else for the next 20 minutes?
Yes, I actually do have lots of.
No, I don't put the flag back, man. That was cool.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Much
trying to
better than the
center it,
House
but-
of Meth.
Yeah. Well, that's debatable, but
Yeah, fair. No, I mean, yeah, short answer is yes. We have forgotten just how difficult this was. I kind of went into this on the pre-show on Thursday. The gifts that we have as Americans that we don't even realize that we have, and we take for granted. This thing that we have here, regardless of how imperfect that it is still way better than 99% of the planet. And yeah, we've totally forgotten how much fighting was done to get to this point, how much fighting there still is to do. And yeah, totally taken for granted, in my humble opinion. You, Michael?
I'm not a pom-pom waving, super patriotic guy, America, this and that. But that said, I appreciate the country, and I do feel like, I wouldn't be moving anywhere else. There's a lot of imperfection that we have here. There's a lot of things that need improvement, and probably more now than there ever have been. But the fact is, I think we can still have that discussion. We can still have the ability to try and improve it. Not very easy to do if you live in North Korea. Not easy to do if you live in China. Not easy to do if you're in Mozambique or Nigeria.
South Sudan.
Yeah, I mean, where, some of these war-torn places and,
Somalia.
I'm not some blind patriot. I'm only half of that. But I will defend some of the things about this country, and one of them, or several of them, happen to be just the Bill of Rights and the ability for us to be able to have these discussions and hopefully turn things around. Yeah, do we have a corrupt system around here? Sure, we do. Do we need to fix things? Absolutely, we do. I'm not one of those people that's, America, love it or leave it. No, what makes this great is that we can change things, and we have that ability to do so. And we should always be trying to strive to do better. We shouldn't let Japan be better than us at, math and science, and about 50 other countries. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be striving for better. That's, there was a time where we were the best at a lot of things. About the only thing we're the best at now, making guns and blowing stuff up. We're really good at that. We've
always been good at that.
We've always, yes, that's one category. And, like the Olympic Games, we pretty much dominate there too, for the most part. We're the basketball. We're really good at those things.
Technological advancements are good. The science behind medication and stuff is, even though it's often outsourced, it usually comes from the U.S.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying, even if we're second place, and so I want to be first. So I still have, that's part of me that's still got the patriotic flair. But if someone has a criticism that's legit, I'm going to say, yeah, of course we should change that. But yeah, people take a lot of things for granted here. Look, now there are people that are really struggling, and this isn't to minimize what people are going through, because there is certainly a lot of people that are homeless and a lot of people in poverty. But for, poverty in the U.S. looks a lot different than poverty in Chad, in the DRC.
And poverty in 1776 was a lot different than poverty in America now.
Right. And in 1776, what people lived to be 58 years old, if that. You know what I mean? Like, lifespans were a lot shorter. There's a lot of things that we have done to improve things. Now, okay, maybe we're all kind of fat now. Maybe we could all stand to lose some weight. Looking right at myself on that one. But, still, there's a lot of improvements that have been made and a lot of things people do take for granted. I don't know. That's just my perspective on it.
Well, I think one of the things that's taken for granted to kind of root into the question a little more is the amount of sacrifice that the signers of the Declaration actually ended up making. Yeah. And I would recommend for anybody who is even remotely curious about it, Paul Harvey years and years and years ago did an excellent video on this thing. Why are you laughing?
Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
Yeah. No,
I was just talking with Michelle about Paul Harvey today. It was just funny that you brought that up.
Gotcha. But no, he breaks down. You can still find this on YouTube. He breaks down where every one of these people ended up in their lives, and the vast majority of them lost everything.
Yep.
A lot of them lost their families. Their families were killed. Their property seized and destroyed.
Yep.
Their wealth vanished, and these were not poor people, but a lot of them ended up in poverty, and they did it because they felt like there was a better way for things to work, a better way to be ruled, a better way to be governed, and they paid a tremendous price for it. And I will say, I agree with you, Michael, that I don't think it's necessarily healthy to just, pom-pom cheerlead, because we have to address the issues that we have as a country. But I don't think there's enough appreciation for what the country has been through to get us to this point. And really, I would say that at all levels, not just the founders of the country back in 1776, but all the other strife that we've gone through. The period of slavery and all of those who lost their lives in slavery, but ultimately that loss of life was one of the things and that strife was one of the things that changed the viewpoint of slavery as it went throughout the world. So there was a benefit to it. I hate to say the word benefit, but you know what I mean? There was some positive that could have been had from that struggle and that strife. The Civil War and all of the loss of life there, because again, America has always been difficult. It's always been confrontational. And at that point it got really hot, and I hope we never get there again, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do. But that was a struggle to try to figure out a way to keep all of this together. The various wars and stuff we've been through, whether you agree or disagree with them, the vast majority of them I do not agree with.
Right.
But they were still pivotal in shaping this country and in a loss of life. And I think that we're too quick to look at that stuff and just blow it off. Like, what does this have to do with me now? Or those guys were crazy, or whatever you want to say about it, rather than trying to find the lessons from it and the benefits from it and the gifts that we have today because of it.
You can learn just as much, and often I will say more, from things that were done improperly in history than from things that were done perfectly in history, because there's a lot more to absorb. There's a lot more lesson to be learned from prior mistakes. And that doesn't just go for history. That goes for people in general. On your own track, you learn more as you make mistakes than you do from always getting things right.
Well, by definition, you can't learn anything from perfection anyways, because it is already perfect. So there's no learning to be had there per se. And find me anything in history that's been perfect anyways, short of maybe Jesus. But even then, he had his moments where he was questioning what was going on and what he was putting himself through and asking God why.
Yes.
So even there, you can look at that and go, well, that wasn't exactly clean either.
Yep.
But that's the thing that gets me is a lot of looking at the United States, and maybe other people look at their countries this way too. Although I don't know that as many countries have as much external hatred as we do, except for maybe like the North Koreas and stuff of the world. But they look at the imperfections and don't realize that everybody has imperfections. Every country has imperfections. Nobody's ever going to get it perfect. But I've said this in multiple places, and I'll say it again here. If it's so bad here, why is everybody striving to get here?
Yep.
And something that I didn't share with you, Beth, but I did share on the TCF pre-show this morning, and it's all over YouTube, so you can find it, but mainstream media finally picked this up. A lot of people who have come to us from other countries for the World Cup are just extolling the virtues now of the United States. They were all told what a shithole this was.
Yep.
And they're realizing that it's not, that we have things in abundance, that it's a place where people get along. This one guy was saying how he's up in Boston, and he was from Germany, so he's there to support his team, and a bunch of Bostonians just picked him up and gave him a ride to his hotel because it was raining outside.
Yeah.
I mean, just a lot of cool stuff that does happen here. And I think if we appreciated everything that everybody went through to get us this far, and we started focusing more on what's the next thing we should do, the next right thing that I always talk about, doing the next right thing, rather than being so obsessed with everything that's gone wrong. Can you imagine just how great we could and would be compared to what we are now? But, this is fun too, I guess.
A lot of missed potential. A lot of missed opportunities, I think, for the country. That's the one thing I would say. I mean, even now, there's a lot of bridges are being burned, and a lot of damage is going to have to be cleaned up in the coming years. And but yeah, people are still coming here. This country isn't the crap hole that everybody says it is outside of Gary, Indiana. So
cheap homes there, though.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Let's go with that.
See, look at the upside.
Right next to all the abandoned buildings.
So, when I was looking for radio jobs through the years, and I had an interview in Jacksonville, Florida, and people don't realize Jacksonville, Florida, maybe not the biggest population, but it is a huge city in terms of square mileage, and there's just a lot of places there. So I was looking at properties. I saw there was like a house for sale for like $1,000, not $1,000 a month, not $1,000 mortgage. It was just $1,000, and I'm like, well, what's with this? And it was on the beach. Well, apparently, some tropical storm or hurricane took out most of it, and it was just it's missing the door and the windows, and it looks like it's about to fall over, but it's $1,000. I'm like, let's see. On a radio person's salary, I could fix that thing up after about 40 years. I think, it's a good starter home, like a real fixer-upper. But even that is better than what you get in some of these places around the world,
Yeah.
Certainly better than, Tanzania or whatever. So, beautiful country, perhaps, but, not necessarily livable to the standards that we have set here.
No, that's what gets me. We've got high standards here and a high standard of living, but it seems like so many just want to take a giant crap on that, and the left and the right, both in their own ways, seem to want to burn it all down.
Yeah.
When the reality of it is, again, and then we look at it and we go, it's such a mess. But then again, everybody's trying to get here. And just look at the number of people coming across the border. So why do we look at our home in such a negative light is what gets me, when everybody else is going, man, that looks like paradise. We got to get there. What is that? That's messed up. You know, you talked earlier about poverty being so different in this country. Poverty here is a big screen TV, a cell phone, a roof over your heads, air conditioning, and a fridge full of food.
Yeah.
And just one of those things is so much more than what so many around the world have.
Absolutely.
So again, all of the effort that and the death and the loss that went into getting us to where we are now, and so many look at it and go, I don't see this as a good place. And they look back at the revolution and they don't see the sacrifice of those people. They see them as horrible people.
Right. And
I'm blown away by that.
We can be, there's certainly some terrible things that forefathers did. I mean, look, you know, however you feel about it, a lot of them were slave owners, but
you also have to take that in the context of time, though.
Right. What was considered okay then versus what is okay now? I mean, nowadays, if you watch half the TV shows from the 80s and laugh at some of the jokes about gay people or black people or just whatever, you're considered like completely out of touch and you're some old curmudgeon and a racist and a bigot and all that. When, you know, in the 80s, that was considered acceptable humor. Nowadays, I mean, you know, we can't laugh at pretty much anything anymore, but we can at least have songs like WAP. So at least, we've got that. You know, we have such a weird double standard on a lot of things in our society. But yeah, the time. And again, don't even think about it. I'm not here justifying slavery. I'm not saying it was acceptable or good or beneficial or wonderful or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just saying that's what people did in the time. Doesn't make it right. You know, just like, you know, when you in the 1950s, you know, your secretary worked for you and you told her she did a good job and you slapped her on the ass. That's not right to do either. Okay. Not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what people did at the time, you know?
Well,
standards evolve. That's the thing.
Right.
If people looked back at history in the lens of what that time was, they would look at what happened with our revolution as extraordinary.
Right.
But instead, they look at it with a 2026 lens.
Yes.
And that's just insane to do, because and these are the idiots who don't realize that 100 years from now, somebody's going to be looking back at them and doing the same damn thing.
That's what I was just going to say.
There are things that we do now, and I don't know what they are, but I guarantee you they exist, that we look at and go, it's fine. It's fine. 100 years from now, they're going to look back and go, those guys were animals.
Yep.
But that's not the right way to look at history. It's not how history has ever worked.
You have to take it in context.
They put Jesus on a cross, and we look at that nowadays and we go, that is horrible torture. How could somebody ever, if you're going to have an execution, how could you do it like that? That was a Tuesday then. Yep.
Well, there were people on both sides of him also on a cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't just him.
So you can't judge history and the actions of people solely on your current beliefs. It just doesn't work.
I mean, in fairness, I mean, some people are just bad people, right? Some people just are terrible, horrible, evil people, and there's no way to justify it. And, you know, time period or not, they're just awful people.
We're looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mussolini, you know, Christopher Columbus, and the guy that invented fitted sheets. just the
that'd be
worst
the
people.
the top few.
Yeah.
But after the revolution, they tried to, even though they were breaking from Britain, they still wanted to make George Washington
A king.
and he
Yep.
said no.
He's like,
He
you
turned
idiots.
that down.
We just went away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ben Franklin famously saying to somebody who asked him, what kind of government do you have? And he said, a republic if you can hold on to it, because it was that fragile even then.
Yeah.
And it needs work. That's the thing about the United States. If we can just leave it with this, it needs constant work and attention. And that might be part of the problem that we have now, is that not only do people not fully comprehend what they went through back then to get this whole thing started, they don't have skin in the game now.
Yeah.
Well, you've perfectly transitioned into the next question.
Yay!
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Well, I do what I can.
Every once in a while.
So 250 years later, the colonies won, the British went home, George Washington declined becoming king, which historically speaking was probably a pretty important career decision for him. But that only solved one problem. Winning freedom is one thing, figuring out what to do with it, well, people have been debating that part for about 2.5 centuries, which brings us to our next question. What does freedom actually require? So, the other day, as I said, we celebrated America's 250th birthday. For 250 years, one word has been repeated over and over again: freedom. It's written into speeches, it's sung in songs, it's printed on monuments. It's one of the defining ideas of the American experiment. But freedom is an interesting word. Almost everyone wants it. Almost everyone claims to support it. But once you ask what freedom actually means, things become a lot less obvious. Is freedom simply the ability to do whatever we want? Or is it something much more demanding than that? Because every freedom comes with a question. Where does my freedom end and yours begin? A society where everyone has complete freedom to ignore everyone else doesn't stay free for very long. It becomes chaos. At the same time, a society that tries to eliminate every disagreement in the name of order eventually loses the very freedom it was trying to protect. Maybe that's the tension every free society has always had to navigate. Freedom requires responsibility. Freedom requires compromise. Freedom requires accepting that sometimes people say things we don't like, believe things we disagree with, and make changes or choices we wouldn't make ourselves. None of that is comfortable. But perhaps comfort has never been the price of freedom. Perhaps maturity is. So today's question: what does freedom actually require from the people who live in a free society?
Okay. Do you want to start, Michael, or do you want me to?
What does freedom require? Well, it requires a lot of hard work, a lot of vigilance, a lot of protests, a lot of standing up for what you believe in. Sometimes it involves going to prison, or at least to jail, to fight against oppressors. Sometimes you lose your life for it. There's a lot of things that are required to maintain it. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And that's true for all civil liberties. Freedom. We have this illusion. Yeah, we're not as free as we think we are. We're not as free as we claim to be. And people that say freedom of speech, I don't think they understand that, the downside is that, yes, you have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom from consequences.
Yes.
And that's the thing. So, freedom requires education, knowledge. It requires a lot of patience. It requires diligence. It requires so much to maintain it, which it's kind of ironic because it requires a lot of work, which isn't exactly freedom. It's sort of a slavery to making sure that your freedom stays in place. It's a labor of love, if you will.
Yep.
But to keep it going, That's what you have to do. And there are people that certainly want to restrict that for their own interests. And that's another part of it. You have to constantly be looking over your shoulder. It requires a little, not a lot, but there's a little bit of paranoia that you have to have, or at least a little bit of nervousness. Skepticism, healthy skepticism. So to me, that's what is required to maintain it. That and more.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that you have to have to have freedom is, and this is so simplistic, but it's true if you think about it right now, you have to actually want it. And I'm not convinced that many in our society really truly want it anymore. They say they do. But the problem with freedom is that it's messy and that it has responsibility attached to it. You have to do your part. And ultimately, as a society, as most Western societies have become more fat and lazy. And we don't want to put in the work. What we want, we say we want freedom, but most people, what they really want at this point, in my opinion, is safety and security. If you're truly free, you're going to have the possibility of falling down. And you're going to have to get back up again.
Yes.
But most people don't want to have that risk anymore. We've become risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
So what people seem to be more interested in now is how they feel. I want to feel safe. And they use that word a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean they will be safe. They want the illusion of it.
Right.
And that can be a government program, a heightened police force, free money, whatever the case may be. But none of those things are actual freedom.
No.
Those are slavery in a different cloak. Because ultimately, if you're going to hand over your safety to a police force, for example, then that police force has power over you. It's just that simple.
Yes.
If you're going to hand over your financial situation to the government via, various support programs or universal basic income or anything like that, ultimately the government has that power over you. They become the daddy.
Yep.
So that's not freedom either. Freedom requires work. It requires a commitment. And more than anything, in my opinion, it requires a lot of risk. The upside is high. It's a lot higher than you'll ever get without it. But there is the risk that you won't make it. And you have to accept that in a truly free society. You have to accept the fact, and I've had this happen to me. There's a lot of people that I've trained in my life who have passed me now. They've gone on to bigger and better things. And I stand back here and I clap and I say, good for them, because they've figured out something that I couldn't. They've gone in a direction that I could not go, and it's worked out for them. But that's part of it.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't want to accept and they don't want to be okay with, is the fact that somebody else might pass you by. They might do better than you. You might fall down and get back up again and have to work twice as hard to get back to where you were. These things happen, but that's part of freedom.
Like when I broke my leg.
Yeah. But that's part of freedom. And if you don't embrace that, then unfortunately, the alternative is slavery of another kind. It's the government ruling your world.
Yeah.
But that's where everybody seems to want to run to. I mean, look at all the socialists that are suddenly popping up on the left, who are very much about big government programs. Let's tax the bejesus out of everybody. And I don't want to go overtly political here, but that's undeniably the direction that we're running to. And if you look at history and what that means, it does not mean freedom. It's just that simple.
Well, order and liberty are constantly pushing against each other.
Yeah.
It's not clean.
No.
The whole concept is messy by design. It has to be. A free society is noisy, it's not quiet, because people are able to express their own opinions, and people disagree and mistakes happen. And
Right. Yeah. And a free society in this modern age is a little bit of a myth. I mean, it's, in this era where everyone is tracked and there's 58 ways of monitoring people. And again, the irony of me being here, social media talking about that, but, where everything is watched and monitored, and you can't really go anywhere anymore. That's sort of that's part of the myth, I guess, to the free society. It's like the free market. There isn't a free market. There's no free market. Free market it just doesn't exist because, there's always going to be government involvement. There's always going to be collusion. There's always going to be all sorts of things that work against a free market. And that's part of a free society. There's always going to be things that work against it.
yep.
So, that concept is but all you can really do, this kind of goes back to the first conversation we had. All you can do is try to make it better. All you can do is try to improve what you have. And that's what we should be doing in this country. We should be trying to do that. If we could actually get, the left and the right to stop screwing things up, that would be.
Do you think part of the messiness
fantastic.
of the freedom, though, is actually like the proof in the pudding that it's working? Because if it wasn't messy, I can guarantee there wouldn't be freedom.
Look, freedom is messy for sure. I'm concerned about the type of messy that we have right now with such a vocal group of people trying to run away from the concept and run directly into the hands of those who have a vision that traditionally does not result in freedom.
Yes.
And again, this kind of goes back to part one, where we were talking in a sense about being a student of history, about having an understanding of what this country really went through and the sacrifices that were made. There's also a lack of understanding, the lack of being a student of history when it comes to these socialist bending communist kind of movements, and the freedom and the liberty and the life that those traditionally cost.
Yeah.
Point anywhere, please. I'm begging you, educate me. I'm serious. If I'm missing something, find me one instance in the history of the world where leaning continually to the left, as far as an ideology goes, with the socialist kind of nanny state sort of thing, where it's ever turned out good. Unfortunately, it's one of those situations where everybody goes, well, this time we'll get it right.
Yeah.
But that time has never gotten right, unfortunately. And that's my concern. If the messiness that we had here was just us arguing over whether or not what Johnny said should have been said. Yeah, he had the freedom to say it, but should he have said it? Yeah. That would be the messy kind of thing. But so much of the conversation, unfortunately, has devolved into F the United States. It doesn't work. I want to do this other thing.
Yeah.
Now, I guarantee you, and I totally agree that it is broken for sure. I'm a capitalist guy, and I look at the economy and go, this is not capitalism. It's not even close. It's private-public partnership, and it's messed up. But I don't think the answer is, well, let's just run to the system that's been tried by everybody east of the old Iron Curtain, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't buy that.
Yeah, history's already proven that.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, just like in our first segment, there's a lot that needs to be fixed. But the fact is, it can be, and we're still here to be able to do it, which is a lot more than we can say for others. So let's just hope that we hold on long enough to be able to actually do that. Let's hope we, Ben Franklin, let's hope we continue. Because you're gonna have to hold on to that republic. That's for sure.
and look, we've had several generations that have kind of painted us into a corner, especially economically. We have a central banking system that's screwed us over. The petrodollar is not a good thing. So unfortunately, the way forward, if we're really going to fix the problems that we have in our country, are going to involve pain.
Yes.
Which will probably nix it for just about everybody. But if you truly want your freedom, if you truly want things to be better, this is one of those times in history where everybody's going to have to put in the work, and it's going to suck.
Yeah. Freedom doesn't mean that there's going to be an absence of conflict.
No.
Right.
Or an absence of consequence.
Yep.
Or that you're going to get everything that you ever asked for. There is no system that will give you that. By definition, the system that so many are touting right now does not give you everything that you ask for. It puts hard limits on it unless you're one of the elite.
Yes.
You will only get this far, no further, and that's it. At least here, even right now, as broken as we are, there is still the potential, if you're willing to put in the work and figure it out, there is the potential to get whatever you want out of all of this.
Yes.
Which again is more that you can say for most of the world.
Yeah.
Most of the world has a very hard cap on just how far you'll get, unless you're incredibly lucky or you're born into it.
That's very true.
I would agree.
But that was one of the points I made Thursday too, is that, anybody has the opportunity to become something here. If you want a recent current example, the congresswoman who started out as a bartender.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, she rose up into one of the most recognizable figures in the world. Agree or disagree with her, you got to say, she played her cards, played them well.
Yeah.
And she is one of the most recognizable figures in the world. And she was slinging drinks just a few years ago.
Yep.
That's America. That's the potential. That's the opportunity if you're willing to work for it. And again, agree or disagree with her politics, she put in the work.
Right.
And she still does. I can't say that I agree with all of it. There's some things she's done that I'm like, yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
And there's some other things I'm like, you are insane. But isn't that the case with everybody?
It is. And that's
kind of the point.
At least here, at least in the good old US of A, and I know there's a few other countries that are like this, but at least in the good old US of A, we can still be kind of batshit and not necessarily get thrown into prison for 50 years just for deviating our thoughts from, slightly from the norm. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for when you want to talk about giving away any of these freedoms, because it has the ability to get insane.
Yes.
In North Korea, there is one day a year where just smiling will get you put in prison for 10 years. And that's the day of Kim Il-sung's death. Death day. You have to show mourning. You have to be sad. You have to be crying. You're not allowed to have a happy moment on that day. And if they catch you having a happy moment, it's 10 years. Tell me that isn't messed up.
Don't you dare talk against the supreme leader or pout or do the wrong facial expression.
Yeah. But that's how insane stuff can get. And that's why it drives me nuts when there is a lack of appreciation for what we have here.
Sure.
Because I wish people were at least a little bit of a student of history and a student of not only history but present day events. There are places in this world that are messed up. There's still places in this world with slavery.
Yeah.
There are lots of
Oh
them.
yeah. There's lots of them.
And we don't face those things here. For all the problems we have, be a lot worse. Which is why I kind of grit my teeth when I listen to what some people say in some directions they want to move in, because it's regression in a lot of ways into some bad ideas. And I'm not saying that we're on a path to salvation, because I don't believe that either. But I am saying come up with a new, better idea. Rather than just
put in the work, put in the brain power.
Yep. Rather than just running back to something that we've proven time and time again does not work.
Yep.
And we haven't proven that what we have here does work, though I will say it's been going for 250 years now. And that in and of itself is a rarity.
Yes.
Any constitution lasting this long is pretty much unheard of.
Yes.
They tend to last decades, not centuries.
Yes.
But we've managed to do it.
Yep.
It's usually about 80 to 100 years.
Yep.
We've made a bunch of amendments. We've done all sorts of fun things.
Yeah.
We're still here somehow.
Yeah.
Despite some efforts maybe to not be, but we're still here.
No, and I think we need to continue to figure out how to be here. Because again, it's that whole shining light on a hill thing.
Yep.
Because it's not, and again, I've referenced this several times tonight, but I'll do it again. This is the place everybody runs to, which means we are the ideal. I think if we actually recognized that and treated that alone with a little bit more respect, we would probably have a better shot of figuring out how to work on our problems and move forward in a good way.
We would.
And be totally free, instead of slowly giving up the freedoms that we have, which unfortunately never ends good.
Historically speaking, it doesn't, and I don't think we're gonna break that streak if we continue down this road. So
probably not.
Yeah.
So yeah, what does freedom require? Just to sum it up, Beth, everything we have.
That's true.
I think that's the easiest way to put it. Everything we've got.
Yep.
All right.
So I was trying to look up. Give me just a moment.
Okay. What are we trying to look up?
Did we run out of time, or did we just?
There was like 15 seconds left.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was trying to look up the sermon that you referenced.
I referenced a sermon?
The City on a Hill.
Oh, that. Okay.
Stand by.
Well, while Beth looks that up, please do visit itbshow.com and sign up for our emails so you can get Beth's show notes.
And
what did you calculate? About 6 to 8 hours per episode in preparation?
Yeah, the show notes for this show are 47 pages long.
Oh my God.
It's a lot of show notes. So you get that emailed to you when you sign up for the emails, and
guys,
it's good stuff. Lots of links to sources and all sorts of good stuff.
This is an hour show. We have 47 pages of show notes.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't think Beth does a thorough job,
right?
Wow.
So Wahoo, Ronald Reagan referenced the Shining City on a Hill, but he was not the originator of that, as I recall.
No, and I'm having trouble getting the full context because of copyright, but it's not really copyright because it's old. So
sounds about right.
Stand by. The computer's being difficult.
All right. Well, we'll give you another minute, and then we should probably move on because
Yes.
dead air loses people.
We can just vamp though, Dan. We can just talk. But
You can bam.
we can tell a story about a bridge. There was a bridge back in 1960.
I watched a bridge get blown up yesterday in a TV show.
Hey, there we go.
Beth and I are watching The Last Ship. We're in the final season of that now. Hadn't seen it before. Pretty good show.
Yeah.
But that's a show about like losing America and losing everything to like two different plagues. And then in the 5th season here, not to give it away to anybody who hasn't seen it, but attacked by basically South America because all the countries were so broken. South America kind of all rallied together and said, screw the United States, and basically blew up all of our hardware.
Yep.
So
Wow.
So I finally got the context. The original quote was from John Winthrop, and it was in 1630. And that's what has been referenced across time. And the quote is, "For we must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill. The eyes of all people are upon us, so that if we shall deal falsely with our God in this work we have undertaken, and so cause him to withdraw his present help from us, we shall be made a story and a byword through the world. We shall open the mouths of enemies to speak evil of the ways of God and all professors for God's sake. We shall shame the faces of many of God's worthy servants and cause their prayers to be turned into curses upon us until we be consumed out of the good land whither which we are a-going."
and that is why Reagan is credited with it, because it's much more recent than 16 whatever.
1630, yes.
Yeah.
But that is actually the original quote, and I just wanted to give context.
I like it.
Sorry it took me a little bit to get there because,
Reagan did it better.
well,
I think so.
yeah.
Well,
Reagan amazed me for one reason. Again, agree or disagree with the man. And there's some things I liked about him, some things I didn't. But one thing that was really interesting about him, that I don't know if a lot of you know this, he'd have his speeches on note cards, and then he would take his note cards and mix them up. And
Wow.
then he would give the speech based on the new order of the cards. So he would adapt it to whatever the order was of the points he was going to make, which is totally unique. But he claimed that it
Call it
kept him on his
speech rabbi.
toes.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's very cool.
yes.
Okay, so
All right.
since we're talking about celebrating America's birthday,
All right.
next we have 5 statements that sound completely ridiculous, and it's your job to decide whether they're true or false.
Statements, huh?
They've always been statements.
Yeah, but that kind of implies that these are things that people have said.
No, just I'm reading statements.
Okay. All right. It more sounded like Ben Franklin said
no.
this,
No,
true
no,
or
no.
false. That's how it came across. Okay,
No.
I'm with you now.
They're actually in my show notes since the very beginning. It actually says like lightning question 1, and then it says statement.
Oh.
Not
Okay.
question. Because I'm not asking yes or like.
So you're
it
saying
doesn't-
I should subscribe to the show notes and start reading?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not framed in the form of a question like Jeopardy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you haven't caught on to that point in 27 episodes.
Who
but
is John
that's okay.
Hancock?
All right, ready?
Yeah.
It's a funny name, Terry Ferguson.
I'm losing my voice. All right. Before he became famous for signing the Declaration of Independence, John Hancock was at the center of a scandal involving a ship, British custom officials, and a cargo of smuggled Madeira wine.
Well,
False.
that would track because
Yeah.
a lot of their issues were with trade and stuff like that. Didn't want to be taxed, wanted to do
Yeah.
their own thing. They like to drink, not just tea.
Shall
As
we
they
have
were
a
spending
snifter
more
of
time in
brandy?
America, they were becoming coffee people anyways.
That's
Yeah.
true. But was he smuggling wine? Was he a pirate?
Maybe. I mean, they all
I
had their own
mean-
warships and cannons and stuff.
Yeah.
As Michael yawns.
Oh, God.
Michael's all
Apparently
like,
red-
your story has become tiresome.
Apparently,
No,
red, white, and weird is boring.
No, guys, it's 1,000 degrees in this studio.
Oh, I know it is here too.
I don't have the fan on only because I just don't want to have. Well, you know what? I'm turning the fan on because I gotta cool off in here. I know I do say it's true though, because again, yeah, a lot of things are around trade. Even if this was false, it's so believable. Like, this isn't one of those things where it's like, John Hancock once had a laser in his hand and he went to the airport and they flew planes back in the. No, somebody else said that. But anyway, it's great. That airport's wonderful. So no, I totally believe it. That to me, this is an easy, true question to me.
Yeah, I think it's true. I mean, that's the other thing when we talk about America, and the founding of it. Yes, these guys were not angels.
Oh no.
So, yeah, I say true.
Okay, it is true.
Yay.
Which means America's most famous signature belongs to a man who first became famous for making British custom officials absolutely lose their minds. In 1768, British custom officials seized John Hancock's ship called the Liberty, claiming that much of its cargo of Madeira wine had been secretly unloaded before import duties could be collected. The seizure outraged Boston, sparking protests and riots, and became one of the growing flashpoints that pushed the colonies closer to revolution. Hancock denied the allegations, and the charges against him were eventually dropped. So yes, before John Hancock became famous for writing the biggest autograph in American history, he was also at the center of one of the colonial America's biggest political scandals. History remembers the signature, but the British remember the paperwork.
Ellie says hi back, Wahoo. I wonder if the reason his signature was so big was because he was just wasted on his wine.
It could be.
I'm gonna sign this.
I'm signing. I got a big Hancock.
His vision was so blurry, he had to sign it large to make sure he could actually see it.
I tell you
Proof
what,
that even
right.
back then size mattered.
That's right. Sign declaration.
All right.
All right.
Number two. Go.
During the Revolutionary War, Philadelphia secretly hid. Oops, I'm sorry. I had a pop-up. Secretly hid the Liberty Bell by disguising it as a wagon axle and sneaking it past British troops to keep it from being melted down into cannonballs.
What year?
No year. During the Revolutionary War, Philadelphia secretly hid the Liberty Bell by disguising it as a wagon axle and sneaking it past British troops to keep
How
it from
could you
being melted down
disguise-
into cannonballs.
Wouldn't it be too early for the Liberty Bell because we didn't have Liberty yet? We were still fighting for it? Or was the bell always there and we just named it Liberty later? I'll admit my Liberty Bell history is a little, little thin.
Yes. Yes, I didn't know I was going to have to study my Liberty Bell.
You never know what to expect with this show. That's part of the fun.
It's like the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody
Yeah.
expects it.
I don't know how you disguise it as a wagon axle.
Be a
That part
big
I-
wagon, man.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? That's the part I don't get that part.
I mean, maybe a paddle wheel on a steamboat could fit on that, but a wagon wheel?
Yeah, that's the one detail that leans me toward false. I don't know. That's I kind of have to lean that way only because that part that I'm hung up on it. So
I'm going to go false as well. And if we find out it's true, I want an artist rendering of this thing.
yeah, I want to know how they hid it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they got caught, and so clearly they didn't hide it well. But clearly they didn't because it never got melted down because we still have the Liberty Bell, and it's about the only thing Philadelphia has that's worth anything. But there you go.
All right, we're false.
Okay, you guys caught me. This one is false, but only because history was slightly less ridiculous than we wanted it to be. The Liberty Bell really was hidden from the British in 1777. Philadelphia's leaders feared the British would seize large bells and melt them down for cannonballs, so they quietly removed several bells from the city, including what we now call the Liberty Bell, and transported them to Allentown, Pennsylvania. The false part, they didn't disguise it as a wagon axle. It turns out that moving an enormous bronze bell is already suspicious enough without trying to convince people it's just really a weird piece of farm equipment. So America really did hide one of its most famous symbols from the British. So they just skipped the whole Bugs Bunny level disguise.
All right.
How the hell did they? I'm still curious how they hid it though.
It actually, it went into a church, a Zion Reformed church, and they hid it beneath the floor. All of the bells that were collected from Philadelphia went under the floorboards of a church until the British left Philadelphia.
So they hid them like the Germans hid Jews in the floors?
Yeah. No, seriously.
That's really interesting.
Wow.
See, you always learn things on this show.
You do.
We do.
All right. Number 3.
Okay.
Go.
The nickname Uncle Sam came from a real meat packer whose barrels of beef were stamped U.S. for the Army, leading soldiers to joke that the food came from Uncle Sam. You guys were yelling at me about dead air. Maybe history is. I give you historical questions all the time.
History sucks. Yeah.
Let's finish this show so I can score.
You got to get through 3 more questions.
Ooh, I think that was a quasi promise on her part.
Ooh.
All right, let's get through this. Let's go.
All right. Well, you haven't
true,
said,
true,
is it
false.
True or false?
Good night, everybody.
Hey.
Oh, dear.
You know, I really don't know. I would just. This is one of those I would just sit here and speculate all day because this is one of those you either just know it or you don't.
Well, aren't they all just you know it or you don't?
Well, no. I mean, some of them you can reason and kind of talk through. Like the last one, I didn't know for sure, but I'm like, you can't disguise the Liberty Bell as a friggin' wagon axle. That doesn't make any sense. Like some of those are just like, I don't know it, but logically I could break it down and go, that sounds stupid. So no. Now, half the time these questions may sound stupid, but of course they're totally true. But mostly they're nature related questions where it's like, the yellowtail, it's always like some weird animal that has the ability to deliver 50,000 volts, through its pee-pee or something. And it's like, well,
yeah.
Like that. Yeah, of course that doesn't make sense either. But this is more just history, and history never makes sense. So I'm going to go with true anyway.
What's the time frame on this again?
I didn't give a time frame. The nickname Uncle Sam came from a real meat packer whose barrels of beef were stamped U.S. for the Army, leading soldiers to joke that the food came from Uncle Sam. But I will tell you that this portion was in the 1800s.
False. Because I think Uncle Sam wasn't a thing until World War II.
It was earlier, but
what did Michael say?
I thought it was earlier. But
okay. Okay, it is true.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Hey,
what else is new?
One of the most famous symbols in American history may have started as military sarcasm. During the War of 1812, a meatpacker named Samuel Wilson supplied barrels of beef to the U.S. Army. The barrels were stamped U.S. to show they belonged to the United States. The soldiers, however, knew Samuel Wilson personally and started joking that the initials actually stood for Uncle Sam. The nickname spread, the newspapers picked it up. Eventually, Uncle Sam became a nickname for the United States government itself. So, yes, one of the country's most recognizable patriotic symbols may have started because a bunch of soldiers couldn't resist making dad jokes about shipping labels. And apparently, America has been weaponizing bad humor since 1812.
Okay. The more you know. What are we on? 4?
4. I'm sorry, I'm losing you guys with these.
No,
this one's short.
It's fine.
We just don't. Yeah, this is one of those like we just don't know it. We feel bad.
A gold-toothed raccoon once visited the White House.
Was that the nickname for like Taft or something like that? Is he known as the gold-toothed raccoon?
An actual raccoon, like an actual trash panda. I'm talking about a physical trash panda
with a gold tooth. Was that like put in by a dentist, or was it just a tooth that had really yellowed?
Well, I don't know. I can't tell you that part.
It's a gold tooth. It's actually titanium. It's the greatest metal. I don't,
Yeah, I was gonna say, was this raccoon on the Trump estate? That would explain the gold tooth.
You have to decide, did it have grills or not?
With shoes of brass, teeth of gold, his brain. We can fix him. We have the technology.
$6 trillion raccoon.
$6 trillion.
All I ask for are raccoons with frickin' gold teeth.
Evidently, my cycloptic colleague tells me that's not possible. What do we have? I don't know. This is so oddly specific. Like I have to say it's true because it's so odd. It's such an oddly, not that Beth couldn't create something that oddly specific, but it's just it's too direct. It's like, and I'm sure it happened, it's got to be with like Warren G. Harding because he was weird or something, like. Or Woodrow Wilson, I don't know, one of those weird presidents. It wasn't William Henry Harrison because he died in 30 days. Well, they're all weird to a degree.
Yeah, I think it's got to be true just because it's outrageous.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're true.
Okay.
Yeah,
it is true.
See?
And the explanation for this is just so bizarre.
Oh no.
Somewhere in American history, someone looked at a raccoon and said, you know what? This little guy needs better dental work. In 1914, a man named Edward F. Goltra bought a raccoon named Ben to the White House. Bought a raccoon and then brought him to the White House. Ben had reportedly been captured by a hunting club and fought so fiercely that he lost one of his teeth. Rather than leaving it at that, Goltra took him to a dentist. The dentist's solution? Put in a gold tooth. So yes, a gold-toothed raccoon really did visit the White House. History remembers the presidents, but it really should have spent more time documenting the raccoons. And here's the best part. This isn't the only raccoon story about the White House. This happened during Calvin Coolidge. But the
weirdest president.
The most famous raccoon was actually named Rebecca, and it was a pet. It was supposed to be dinner. It was given to what president was it now? I have to remember.
Jackson, maybe? That sounds like
Martin Van Buren.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll pull up my source because I
believe he was big into raccoons. I don't think I can be sued for
Ashley,
defamation.
how is the raccoon okay with that?
Oh,
They plied it with whiskey.
Yeah,
oh, this was Coolidge too. Okay.
of course it was. Silent
anyway.
Cal.
It was brought in by a supporter and suggested that it should be served for Thanksgiving dinner, but they decided
traditional.
to adopt it as a pet, and they gave it this like nice embroidered collar, and they walked it around, and it greeted people, and it was in the press, and there was pictures of it.
You know,
So
one of my
somebody's
links actually has a picture of the first lady holding the raccoon.
of
All
course it does.
so somebody they pardoned the turkeys because that's what they do. So then somebody's like, shit, what are we gonna do for dinner?
So
And
somebody
then
brought in a
Bob's
raccoon.
like, well, I got this raccoon right here.
And then the family was like, that's so cute. And they adopted it. They took it on walks. It had a leash.
Ah,
It was a pet
His
raccoon.
name's
the
Bitey.
the first raccoon.
It was named Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca, Bitey, whatever. Rebecca,
The magic is
short
in the
for
raccoon.
Raby.
The magic was always in the raccoon.
Hey, get me some raccoons. We're gonna have back for dinner, there, Silent Cal. That's tasting good. Yeah, I don't know. You know, we had this whole discussion about, you know, America's great for a lot of reasons. Let's talk about why. And then okay, look, man, this country is weird. We have a lot of weird things that happen in our history. There's certainly bigger scandals and terrible things. I mean, Taft getting stuck in a bathtub is great. There's a lot of things. Taft not being able to fit into a regular car at the time, an automobile. A lot of Taft stories, but this is right up there. I mean, a gold tooth raccoon, and then a raccoon that they were going to eat, but it's a presidential pardon. What?
They adopted it and gave it a fancy collar. And they walked
there was,
it.
What was it? Bush? Who was it? Bush? No, it was Clinton had the socks, the White House cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there was, I think, Millie the dog, and then you got old Bitey there, the raccoon.
Yep.
So
Socks the cat, Millie the dog,
Rebecca the raccoon.
Hillary the first lady, all that stuff.
But I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
I'd rather have the raccoon.
I was originally going to make the question about Rebecca the raccoon, but then when
Hey, Hillary,
I
why don't you
discovered
put
there
in
was
this gold tooth?
there was a raccoon with grills, I couldn't resist.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Number 5.
Yeah.
All right.
Real locks of George Washington's hair still exist today because in the 1700s, giving someone a piece of your hair was considered a thoughtful keepsake.
Did he even have hair? Because they were all wearing those damned wigs.
Wigs, yeah.
Of course, we're assuming it was hair from his head.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Martha, I give you this keepsake. Oh, George, that's so thoughtful of you.
Oh.
Here's one from me. Martha, the smell.
Stop. Do we even still have viewers? Has everybody clicked out?
Yeah, we gained a couple actually.
Well, that's quite a keepsake. You guys missed this show. We've been away for a month or so, and this is what we come back with. So, this is why I tell my viewers all the time, it's unlike any other show on the internet. And that is not a lie. I am just like George Washington. I cannot tell a lie. Now, I know that
Ashley's hyperventilating.
I can only imagine she might recover by the time we get to sidebar tomorrow. Might.
Hopefully.
Guys, I've been giving out a lot of keepsakes. See, I don't have any hair on my head. That's no, this is like, seriously, I do think this is one of those things that was done. I seem to remember hearing that. So it is true. I sure hope Dan's reenactment isn't true, but dear sweet feathery Jesus, I think it probably is. But
feathery Jesus.
Yes.
My God.
Eagle Jesus. For America.
Yes. The bald eagle on a cross. Mary on a cross. It's a great song.
Oh, we've totally lost the plot on this one.
I'm picturing a Family Guy eagle up on a cross now.
I haven't seen Dan laugh that hard in a while. His whole
what are
face
you gonna do?
Bright red.
Maybe I do eagle stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you say?
I said it was true.
It's true.
Okay. It's true. Which means somewhere in America, there's a museum creator whose job occasionally includes looking after George Washington's hair. During the 18th century, exchanging locks of hair was surprisingly common. Friends gave them to friends. Family members kept them. They were placed inside lockets, jewelry, and keepsake books as lasting reminders of someone they loved or admired. Because hair doesn't decay the way flowers and paper do. Many of those keepsakes have survived for centuries, including locks of George Washington's hair. So yes, the first president left behind speeches, letters, and a legacy, and enough hair that historians can honestly say, yep, we've got some of Washington's hair. Apparently, the original cloud storage was a drawer. History tells you about Washington crossing the Delaware. It usually keeps out the part where people basically were handing out friendship hair.
Yeah. And of course, they had leprosy, so maybe you just...
That's one thing you could call that kind of hair is friendship hair. Okay.
My links actually show some pictures of jewelry with hair incorporated into it if you want to see it.
Haven't we had those requests in our jewelry store? Can you include a lock of hair for my child? No, I will not.
I think a lot of people are going to wind up in Jefferson County after all this. They're charged with the second-degree felony of possession of that kind of hair.
Yeah, can you even mail that? Or is that illegal?
You
just have to mark it hazmat. You're good to go. As long as it's labeled.
Don't let the cat get a hold of it.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
This weekend we did the bunny's nails and brushed them. And Dan walked away for 2 seconds and put Floppy back. And Ellie started eating the pile of Floppy's hair.
Oh, God.
Like the whole pile.
God. That is cats are just weird. You know,
my cat, I love her dearly, but she has pica.
Cats like to eat hair, dogs like to eat puke.
Yeah.
If they work together as a team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, the cat pukes up the hair and then the dog cleans it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And they say cats and dogs don't get along, but they have such a symbiotic relationship.
Yes.
They do.
Circle of puke life.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should stop before we do more harm.
I think we should.
So, you know, people always accuse me of being the one that goes off the rails too far. I'm the one that says the worst thing.
No.
You know,
I needed to take that on for you tonight, Michael.
Yes. I just want to say, it wasn't me this time. It wasn't me. You let her catch you? No, it wasn't, though. It wasn't me.
No, I tried to give you the night off. I hope you appreciate that.
I do. I do.
All right, friends. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern,
If you
4 p.m.
dare.
Pacific. If you dare.
I mean,
come back.
Yeah, I challenge you.
Right?
I'm losing my voice.
Be back tomorrow morning over on the Courtroom
won't have a
Files, 9
voice.
a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. Michael will have his weather video up at some point tomorrow.
Yes.
So look for that. Again, go to itbshow.com and subscribe to the emails if you're not already, so you can get Beth's 47 pages of show notes with all of her links and everything else. And yeah, leave it there before we do more harm.
Yeah.
All right, this has been fun. I've missed this show.
Yes.
I'm glad we're back. All right, night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.